A quick update on the mice mechanics. So Alice made it so that each mice game object will actually have, sorry, two mouse sprites like grouped together. So now in game it will look more like having four groups of two mice to kind of create the idea of having mice units, and where each unit will just like do their own thing like collectively. So I made it so that the fluid controls are integrated with how the rats behave, or the fluid controls actually control the rat behave now. So you could do play sequence 1, 2, 3. So left click, right click, Q, and then C to send all the rat groups or rat units to attack the closest enemy. And to summon the back, you will just do sequence 4, 3, 2. So E, Q, right click, confirm, and all of the rats will be sent back. Yeah, as usual. So that is made by kind of centralizing the player input for the rats onto the sequence manager class. So now in this class will have a reference to all of the mice game objects in the game, and whenever the player does something, let's say start an attack, it will loop through each of the mice game object and tell them to all attack the closest enemy. So now, of course, the same logic applies for the summon. So now this setup made it so that instead of like letting each mice game object kind of all listen to the player input on their own and do the action on their own, this setup made it so that it will be easy to control how many rat groups is sent to do each action. So yeah, that's just a quick update. Yeah.
Okay, so this week I worked on a uniform health script and just basically a prototype damage dealing script that I applied to one of the test enemies and also to the temporary player right here. So how I did the health script is I set up the script and I made a current health and a max health, and the max health is accessible. There's like an extra variable that's accessible from other scripts, and then the max health inside the script is private. And then within the function for health, we have all these different things that decide whether it took damage or not, and based on that, it calculates the change in the current health first of all, and we use mathf.clamp for that. And then basically, if it took damage, and it will invoke the damaged event, which we have initialized down here, and that means you can set on event actions like in Unity. I'll show a bit of that later. And then I also have a debug so that I know that it worked. And then basically, if the current health drops below or equal to 0, then I invoke the died event, and I also have a debug log that says died. So on awake, I just set the current health to max health, logic. And then I have a damage function which intakes the amount of damage that it takes, and it adjusts the health by that amount. And then I also have a kill function which just immediately sets that to 0. I haven't used that in a script yet, but it's there if we need it. And then for my little prototype dealing damage function, I just have an on collision script that basically, if the component has the health script on it, it will deal 2 damage, which we initialized in the other function. You can see here that it doesn't apply to the rats yet, but it does apply to the player. So as you can see, when they collide, it says took 2 damage. And we can just keep kind of hitting it. And if you look at the enemy that it's applied to, you can see that the health has gone from 10 to 4. And if you keep doing it until it goes to 0, then it disappears, because I have the event that when it dies, you should set the game object to inactive. So it just disappears. And you can see over here in the debug log that it says it died. So it died and it disappeared, which is just like double the debugging. And yeah, and that's basically all I did this week.